All right, welcome to day 3. So today is going to be focusing on getting the production line a little bit more settled. So imagine we want to go from users signing up to creating a database for them, generating a Docker Compose file so we can use the Docker image we created yesterday, and then quickly spin up servers and restart those containers if needed. We will also like to add some initial data that the user will put in during the sign-in flow or sign-up flow, and then have the database ready. And for that, we're going to need a way to dynamically create Docker Compose files. We want something that can start and restart containers running on the server, and we want to route incoming traffic through something called traefik. We're going to talk a little bit more of that later. And then lastly, we needed a way to create some initial data structure in the Terso database and migrate it and add some data and do all of these kind of things, right? And by sticking with Docker Compose, I can not use Kubernetes. Probably Kubernetes would be a nice choice for this. I'm not that well versed with Kubernetes, but I'll have done a lot of stuff with Docker Compose, so it will do what we want to do. And also by creating these compose files for each client or each customer, we can save the output of that file in a database. So if something goes wrong, if a server goes down, then we'll have a little bit of downtime, but we can just grab that content and create a new file and spin up the client service again. So this is the plan for today. And the flow is, we're going to have a sign up from a customer. They're going to put in some data that we are yet to decide on. Then we're going to call a service, a Docker service that is going to be generating this compose file. Then we want another service, maybe the same service potentially, just to spin up that Docker container through that Docker compose file, check for health, the health status of this container, and then report that either back to the user or to traefik. Traefik has this feature where you can say only route traffic to this container if it's healthy. And if you can't spin it up with a healthy status, then we're going to report not okay back to the user, and then the user can retry or can reach out to us. But hopefully we're just going to go through the happy path for now. So this is the plan. Let me get started, and then I will update you as I go along. All right, so I've made quite a bit of progress. I have gotten the base functionality down, and I've created this Docker service that only has one dependency, which is the Docker themselves as provides an SDK for Go. So that's what we're using. And then we have this template where we're just going to create one file for each customer, and then we're going to be identifying them by the prefix of block, and then with a custom ID. We pull the image. We're going to be changing this up a little bit, so it's still in dev, but it's probably going to be in prod once this goes out. Some environmental variables, nothing like out of the ordinary except these labels. Maybe that is what traefik used to make sure that it routes to the correct Docker container and it load balances it correctly. We also have these commented out traefik related labels that I'm going to add in once we go into production, but this just make it so we can have HTTPS for all the blocks, which is quite necessary in this time and day. Then we have deploy, which is what Docker rollout uses, the Docker plugin that can ensure zero downtime deploys. So this is it. We're just going to feed this into the template package. It's going to pass it, it's going to fill in with the variables, and then we create a directory if one does not exist. So this will be created on the server, so we can easily go in and potentially fix things if we need to, if we really need to. And yeah, chuck the Docker file in there, all good. And then we have this start container method where we use the standard library, which is amazing, to call Docker Compose. Provided with a path to the file, and then we use a profile. So normally what Docker Compose does is the name it gives to a container is the directory it's in plus the service name, and that would be in our case block dash custom ID dash block dash custom ID, which is not really that nice. So instead I use this customer profile. So each service will be named customers-blocks-block-id. Yeah. And then we simply spin it up and we check for errors, everything good. Once we spin up a container, we would like to have its ID so that we can down here go and say, please give me the status of the container. And also if you want to do restarts. And that is pretty much the service for what we need right now. I have this little explore, the main.go file here where I used to play around and we can spin up or test out the functionality. And yes, I did just leak my secrets here, but don't worry, I'm going to delete this after this video goes up. This will come later on in the pipeline when we spin up a database and get the token and all these kind of things. But for now, I have created this beforehand. I've created a database, I've created some structures, so we can just see like how does the generate compose file and starting and all of that work. So if I go and say here and then say just explore, we should have a container status running. Yes, Docker PS, we have one running. Let me just kill this because I'm pretty sure this is from earlier. Let's run it again. Yeah, Docker PS, and we see we have one right here that is up 1 second ago. Just to be totally sure, let's kill it one more time, and they say Docker container prune, see, and then go just explore. Nice. Created 3 seconds ago, up 2 seconds ago. Now we can visit this because I need to run traefik as well, and I will do that in just a second. But let's go in and see here what it created. So they created this block-id directory, and it has the file right here. And as you can see, it has filled out all of these variables that we provided. It's going to be passed and swapped out. And we can do this for as many as we want. So this is really, really nice. Using the UIDs make sure that we don't have any clashes between naming. So let me just go in here and say Docker compose traefik up. Now we should have traefik running. We do. Do we have any services? We have the all things tech podcast that are not running right now. It is running. Did I forget to kill it? I forgot to kill it. All right. Yeah, it's right here. Okay. So yeah, so you can see it does basically what we wanted to. When this goes live, it will be all -things-tech-mvvlf.com. But yeah, this is the functionality, so we can actually spin up blocks for when new customers joins the site. So this is great. Now I still need to get working on this part right here, creating, migrating, and data. So that's what I'll be doing next. So Materso service here is coming along well. It's actually pretty much done now. The API is super easy to work with. And while I was looking through the documents, I found out that I can actually execute SQL statements against the API, which means that the migration strategy we talked about yesterday with Atlas, I no longer need. This makes the onboarding flow of new customers super easy. I can create an issue structure and the data that they inputted in onboarding flow. So this is perfect. It does create a little bit of an awkward situation of having like these strings here, right? And where does the migrations live and how do we deal with like migrations in the future? Since we have to migrate each and every database of our clients, if we need to migrate their databases, this is probably going to be a bigger thing anyway. So like having a central place to do it from I think is quite nice for now. So this is what I'm going to be doing going forward instead of Atlas. So yeah, and there's not that much to it. Actually, it's pretty straightforward. It's just like get an authentication token, and then I can create a database and can get the database token and the structure. So let me instead jump back into Explorer that I have prepared once again to show like the overall flow that we're going to be going through. So whenever a customer onboards, we're going to be creating a database for them, and we're going to slugify it with the name. We're going to create a get a token. We're going to create and add the initial structure and data, and then the create Docker compose file, start and extract, all these kind of things that we saw just before, right? They don't really change. And I'm going to be creating a blog for my wife here. So this is literally just going to be called Morten's wife. She's really into acro yoga, so that's going to be the theme of the blog. The blog URL where it should live should be all things acro yoga.localhost, and we're going to using version 0.011 dark. And the rest is as it was before. So if I go in here and say just explore, let's see what happens. All right, we have something status running. Let's just docker ps. We have something running, that's nice. And let me go into my Terso, and we have the database there. So that's also what we want to see. So let me just run traefik one more time. And then we should be, why don't I have that docker compose run? There we go. Running traefik so we can route the request, the incoming data, like traefik to the right path. So let's just check with traefik here. We have all things acro yoga under our HTTP right there. So if I go and visit, and there we go, Morten wife's blog. So this is working really well, and all this like the major parts in here now. I still need to add like a what you see is what you get editor, and a way to query the actual blog post files from somewhere, which is probably going to be Cloudflare's R2, something along the line. That's probably going to be Friday. Tomorrow I'm going to be focusing on getting this live, getting this on the server, getting this working online, and then start working on an onboarding flow, so we could actually start getting customers in and creating blogs and having all that stuff live. So that is going to be the main focus for tomorrow. And yeah, we can see we have just a small little change to our new customer onboarding flow here, where we just include the Terso service. So that's it. Tomorrow hopefully we'll have a live and onboarding going, and see you tomorrow.